Wade in the water. Wade in the water.
Harriet Tubman and Abraham Lincoln were heroes at a time when our nation struggled the most.
You're about to learn about two great leaders. They would have loved to have seen you all here.
You see, to Abraham Lincoln and Harriet Tubman, education was the most valuable thing in the world.
I got in a lot of trouble when I was a slave because I didn't always do what I was told, especially when it meant that somebody else was going to get hurt. Now, there's a lot of versions of this story because it happened a long time ago, but it all started when I was working in the barn in Maryland with my master.
Hey, you! Give me some of that rope that's hanging on that wall.
We don't use rope to clean the stalls, so.
No, I had a slave escape last night, and I'm going to teach him a lesson.
What you going to do to him?
Tie him up and whip him. Now quit asking so many questions and bring me that rope.
No.
No what?
I'm not going to let you hurt somebody for trying to get their freedom. Freedom is something that we all deserve more of. Now, I knew that what I said was going to get me in trouble, but I didn't know just how bad it was going to be. When I turned to walk away, my master threw a 2-pound weight at my head. I was knocked out for 2 days, but I survived.
You learn to read.
Why, yes, I always wanted to.
And that's exactly why you're not learning nothing. People learn to read and they get ideas. They start to think they're too smart for their own good. Next thing I know, you'll learn how to write and I'll have a real problem on my hands.
Besides,
forget this foolish idea and get out to the swamps.
Did you hear what just happened? My master didn't want me to read because he thought it would give me too much power. Now, knowledge is power. Say that with me. Now, one of my most daring escapes happened in 1851 when I went back to Maryland and I found 11 slaves looking for freedom. Now, that's a lot of people. Can y'all imagine that? Can I see 11 volunteers, please?
Probably the biggest reason I didn't like slavery was a trip I made to the South when I was a teenager. I got hired to help guide a flatboat full of goods to Mississippi, New Orleans, and other places in the South. Now, I didn't think slavery was right, but I wouldn't see how bad it really was until I was in the South and I could see firsthand the pain it caused. I remember meeting a young slave woman who was about to be sold.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
No, not at all. Pardon me. You look troubled. Is there something I can do to help?
Where are you from?
Why, I'm from Illinois.
A free state.
That's right. I got hired to come down here and trade some goods. I've never been to New Orleans before.
So I guess you're not going to the auction.
I beg your pardon?
There's a slave auction. That's where I'm headed.
You don't mean...
My master's selling me today. I'm headed to the auction block.
I've never seen a slave auction before. An auction is a place for selling things in the North, like wagons and tools.
Not people.
No, not people. I admired Miss Tubman, so I invited her to the White House so I could finally meet her.
I never did accept Mr. Lincoln's invitation. I met with his wife, Mary Todd, a few times, but never him.
I wasn't surprised Miss Tubman didn't want to meet with me. I understood that in her eyes, I might have done something to end slavery much sooner.
Later in my life, I regretted not meeting with Mr. Lincoln. He was a good man who was taken from this world too soon. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.